Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a video called Top 10 Places to Visit in the Netherlands. So this is a travel guide, and I think, the Netherlands, I think obviously Amsterdam is the capital, so I think that's going to be like one of the top places to visit. But I don't really know much about like other famous cities, I have to say. I think probably because I'm thinking of like famous landmarks that the Netherlands have, and maybe that they can make it to the top 10 places. And I know that they're famous for like the windmills, but I don't know if like it's a region that has the windmills, or there's like this like, because I've seen like photos of like this like, I don't know, like this field, and there's like a lot of like windmills. But again, I have no idea if this is like a commonplace thing. Whatever you visit in the country, you're gonna have like the windmills, or is this like one particular region? But I do know like probably when you think of like the Netherlands, you think of like the windmills. I think it's such a like Dutch thing, the thing about like the windmills. And also like the tulips. I think the tulips, they're very famous for their tulips, but again, I don't know if it's like a region that grows tulips, or if it's like they like you have it all over the country and it's normal for people like have tulips in their gardens, or it's just like no, they grow it out for them to like sell it. It's not like people that have like rose bushes in their garden, they probably have tulips. I'm imagining it like this, but I have no idea if that's the case. And yeah, and probably cheeses. Like, are they cheese tours? Maybe like you can see how cheeses are made. I don't know, because Dutch cheese is very good. So maybe they have like, instead of like a wine tour, they do like cheese tours. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it all up, but we're gonna find out. So let's check it out and comment, like, subscribe, and start.
What's up, guys? My name is Ryan, and I recently returned from exploring the country of the Netherlands, and I want to share with you my favorite places. So here's my Netherlands top 10.
Tulips and windmills.
Located between Germany and Belgium, the Netherlands is one of the most beautiful and well-designed countries on earth. There's a quote that says, "God created the world, but the Dutch made Holland," and after visiting, I understand why. From the canals of Amsterdam to endless tulip fields, the Netherlands will leave you in awe with its beauty and ingenuity. Let's start this video off at Kinderdijk. When I came to the Netherlands, seeing the windmills was one of the things I wanted to do most, and there's no shortage of them here. Located about an hour from Amsterdam, Kinderdijk is a village that was first inhabited more than 700 years ago. The people at Kinderdijk had to find a way to manage the water, and windmills were a great solution. There are 19 windmills here, and most of them were built around the year 1740. Today, Kinderdijk is home to the largest concentration of old windmills in the Netherlands. When we got here, it was just fun to walk down the main path and marvel at the windmills on both sides.
And
one of my favorite things that we did was tour one of the windmills. I didn't realize this beforehand, but the windmills served as homes for people of the village, and this one was 3 stories high. It was fascinating to see all the rooms constructed around the infrastructure of the windmill. The gears of the windmill were also particularly interesting. They were made out of wood, and it just blew my mind that the Dutch were able to make these almost 300 years ago. After we went outside and the wind started blowing, and I couldn't believe how fast it started turning. I mean, it definitely would be dangerous if you got too close to it. I went over to the mill on the side, and it was pumping up water from the lower elevation. And it was just fascinating to me that the Dutch were able to find a way to harness the wind's power hundreds of years ago to move water from one place to another.
Yeah.
Even if you're not into engineering, you'll find this place fascinating. After, we're going to head over to Urk. Located about an hour from Amsterdam, Urk is this beautiful Dutch town that dates back to the 10th century. Urk was originally an island, but in the 1940s, the land around Urk was reclaimed from the sea thanks to polders and Dutch engineering, and this connected it to the mainland. Today, Urk is such a charming town. I particularly like the harbor. It was full of these beautiful boats.
Yeah, like a port town.
I also love the lighthouse. It was built in 1837 and overlooks the town. One of the main reasons I wanted to come here was to see the wind turbines of Noorderspolder. There's this massive wind farm, and it's one of the largest in the country. The turbines are on the land and also in the sea. What blows my mind is about 80 years ago, this whole area was under the sea. I mean, it's just crazy to me they were able to reclaim this land. There's a path that goes along the water, and it's really relaxing to walk on. If you come during the springtime, there's also a lot of tulip fields in the area, which create a scenic landscape with the turbines spinning in the background. After, we're going to head to the coast to visit The Hague. Located on the North Sea about 45 minutes from Amsterdam, The Hague was first mentioned in 1242, and today it's the 3rd largest city in the Netherlands. Thanks to its proximity to the North Sea, The Hague has a huge beach with a massive pier. I mean, the whole area reminded me of California's beaches, except it was a lot colder. I mean, I had a great time just walking on the beach and checking out the pillars on the pier. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Gouda. I'm a huge fan of Gouda cheese, so I had to come check the city out. Located about an hour from Amsterdam, Gouda is a historic city that dates back to the 1100s. Throughout the centuries, Gouda suffered plagues, fires, and financial difficulties, and it didn't really prosper until the mid-19th century. Today, Gouda is famous worldwide for its cheese. It's made in the surrounding areas, and it was traded in the town's cheese market. One of my favorite features of the city was the town hall. It was built in the 15th century, and it's one of the oldest town halls in the Netherlands. It's such a unique building with Gothic architecture. I really enjoyed just walking around the central square and other alleyways. I mean, Dutch cities are just so well designed. Now afterwards, we're going to visit the capital of the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Known for its elaborate canal system, narrow houses, and countless bridges, Amsterdam has a vibe like none other. I was in Amsterdam many years ago, and its impression has always left a mark on me. Amsterdam originated as a small fishing village in the 12th century, and it rose to be one of the world's most important trading routes in the 1600s. I mean, it's just crazy to me that these canals were designed and constructed hundreds of years ago. I mean, truly mind-blowing. When I was there, I just had a good time walking around the canals and enjoying the atmosphere at this incredible place. Another beautiful nearby city you can visit is Haarlem. Located just a 15-minute train ride from Amsterdam, Haarlem is a quaint town full of Dutch charm. It dates back to the 10th century, and it became a prosperous city thanks to the toll revenues it collected from passing ships. Since the 1630s, Haarlem has been a major hub for trading tulips, and it was the center of the tulip mania, which was when tulips were sold for absurd prices from 1634 until the collapse in 1637. It's considered to be one of the first asset bubbles in history. Today, Haarlem maintains much of its medieval and historic buildings. I mean, it reminds me of a smaller version of Amsterdam. I personally love the river that runs through the city. There's also a historic mill that you can take a tour of. After, we're going to experience the tulip fields. I mean, after seeing the windmills, experiencing the tulip fields was one of the main reasons I wanted to come to the Netherlands. The tulip season varies every year depending on the weather, but it can happen anywhere from the beginning of April to mid-May. The location of the tulip fields can also change from year to year depending if the farmer wants to plant tulips there. For example, one year there may be a place that has tulips in front of a certain windmill, but maybe the next year the tulip field won't be there anymore. I mean, for me it was a challenge to find some good tulip fields, but regardless, there are a few areas that are famous for their tulips, such as North Holland, Noorderspolder, and Lisse. I mean, I just enjoyed driving through the countryside looking for tulip fields and windmills. Now, one of the most famous places to see tulips is Keukenhof. It's known as the Garden of Europe, and it's one of the largest flower gardens in the world. It's located in Lisse, about 30 minutes from Amsterdam. I mean, it's such a beautiful and tranquil place, but I believe it's only open during tulip season, so just double check that if you decide to go there. After, we're going to visit Rotterdam. Located about an hour's drive from Amsterdam, Rotterdam is home to Europe's largest seaport. The city's history goes back to the 13th century when a dam was built here, and over the next few hundred years, it grew into an important port city. Now, due to its location between Germany and Britain, it was completely destroyed during World War II. When Rotterdam was rebuilt, the city was extremely bold of its building and unique architecture. Today, Rotterdam's skyline is full of modern skyscrapers. It's such a vibe here. After, we're going to visit Amersfoort. Located about 40 minutes from Amsterdam, I think Amersfoort is one of the best preserved medieval cities in the Netherlands. One of my favorite features of Amersfoort is the Koppelpoort. It was completed in 1450 and served as a land and water gate. Another fascinating feature of Amersfoort is the Tower of Our Lady. It served as the middle point of the Netherlands when it was constructed back in 1470, and today it stands as the third tallest tower in the country. If you want to go back in time, you gotta take a stroll through this medieval city. While we're still on the topic of medieval things, we're going to visit Castle de Haar. Located in Utrecht, about 30 minutes outside of Amsterdam, Castle de Haar is one of the most beautiful and well-kept castles in Europe and the largest castle in the Netherlands. The original fortress was built back in 1391, but over the years it degraded and burnt down, so the castle that you see today is a result of a 20-year restoration that was completed in 1912. The surrounding grounds and gardens are just immaculate. I personally love the moat that surrounds the castle. I mean, such a beautiful place. For our final destination, we're going to visit Zaanse. This is another one of the best places in the Netherlands to see Dutch windmills. Located about 20 minutes from Amsterdam, Zaanse is a historic neighborhood with 13 windmills. The district where Zaanse is located is the oldest industrial area of Western Europe, and at its peak it had over 600 windmills running. Unlike the windmills of places like Kinderdijk, which were used to pump water, the windmills in this area were used for industrial purposes such as sawing wood, making paper, or grinding spices. I mean, once again, the Dutch have amazed me with their incredible ingenuity. We had a great time just wandering through the village. We were here during later in the day and it had a magical feel to it. It was originally super cloudy and dark, but towards the end of the day, the sun came out and lit up the village so nicely. If you want to feel like you're walking through a magical Dutch village set back in time, you gotta give Zaanstad a visit. Well, that is it for my Netherlands top 10. There's still so many more places, towns, and villages I'd love to explore, so expect a part 2. Let me know where your favorite place is in the comments below. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at shirley.films. It's Ryan, and we will see you later.
Okay, so a little bit of what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot of tulips and a lot of windmills. And okay, apparently they do have windmills a lot in a lot of places in the Netherlands, but there's like a few specific places where you get like the special windmills because they're so old, and the others that are like very old, but also because they've been used for, well, I don't know, because they seem to be running. I don't know if like these days they're still running as a tourist attraction, like they like turn it on. I don't know if that's the right term for like the windmills. You turn them on, or you make it work, but it's just for you to like see the mechanics of it, or they still to this day actually use it for actual purposes, as they say, like grinding spices and stuff. I said I don't think they make like paper. He also I think mentioned like they made paper, but I don't think paper like you make paper like today in this day and age like this. But maybe like I can believe they're like grinding spices and stuff. Maybe they still like work, like they still work those windmills and in for that. I don't know, but I'd be super curious to know if they actually do. Like they're still working, as in like we need them for actual agricultural purposes or purposes of like the industry, and not just for you to like come and check this out and see like, oh wow, it looks crazy, and of course you want to know like historically how it was done like back in the day. But at least like this old timey ones, I'd be super curious to know. But I didn't know also because I always thought that the windmills, at least in the Netherlands, were used for a like water thing or maybe like electricity. And I didn't know that they basically used it for like everything. I don't know if it's like, why are like windmills such a like Dutch thing? I don't know if it's because they maybe like the country gets a lot of like air. I don't know, they get a lot of wind. I don't know why it's so specific to the Netherlands, or they were like, no, we're going to take advantage of this. But I think also like you need the wind, right? Because if you live in a place where the wind is practically non-existent, then obviously you can't put windmills. But I also want to know like the history of like why windmills and why are they like so Dutch. Also, the thing about the tulips, I think he did mention like, no, there's like some places that you can get like the tulips, but it's not like you're just like walking around everywhere and you're gonna see tulips. No, it's just in one particular place and in like several cities that they get tulips. And I didn't know, because I don't know why I thought it was year long, but it's like, no, it makes sense, of course. Like it's a season, like they have to plant the tulips and the tulips have to grow, and they don't grow like year long. So it's like, okay, so if you go to the Netherlands, you definitely go, like he said, like in spring, so you could actually see the tulips. But I didn't know, like he said, like you can go like 1 year and then the other year, like they're not going to be in the same place. So you have to like look around for the tulips. It's like, oh, okay, so we have to like look around for the actual tulips. They're not going to be in the same place. I love that. It's like a treasure hunt. But surprised by the fact, I think some things were quite surprising to me. One, the windmill, like the first windmill at least like he visited, I don't know if all of them are like that. I didn't know that you could actually like go in the windmill, and like they had like there was like a little like a living room. They had like a bedroom. I had no idea, because I don't know why I thought it was just like the mechanics, like the machine itself. I didn't know that people actually like live there. Maybe like, well, these days probably it's all like they don't really have like a structure. It's just like the thing, that the metal thing, and like the thing. It's not just, you can't actually get into the windmill, and you can't enter the modern windmill, I think. But back in the day, apparently they didn't, maybe because obviously they needed manpower to actually like do the thing, and I don't know, to do maintenance, and probably for them to work, you needed someone to actually like do the thing manually. I don't know, I doubt it. Probably these days it's not like that, but I didn't know that back in the day it was like that. And I don't know, I thought that it was like, well, I don't know, but you don't live there. It's like, no, apparently people live there. So mind blowing that people lived in those structures. And the other thing is that because when I think of like the Netherlands, I think of like, oh, they have like very particular houses. They have like very particular architecture, which is like the little like narrow houses with the little roof, and they're all like very like usually the colors are very like red and, well, not like orange, pink. Like they have like very particular set of colors, and the architecture, I think like when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's very Dutch. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like, I don't know, like these houses are very like, they're very Dutch. And it's like when I think of the Netherlands, I think of that. So I don't know why I thought the whole country was like that, but I'm surprised by the fact that I think it was Rotterdam, that it was very modern. I don't know why I thought that the whole country was maybe like, if not like super Dutch, maybe like old-timey, because again, all these places are very old. But it looks like there's like this, they have like giant skyscrapers, and they were like very weird looking buildings, but very modern looking buildings. And I had no idea that this city, like, because I've heard of like Rotterdam, I know it's a city, but I've never actually like looked at it, and I'm surprised by how modern it looked. It looked completely different out of like all the cities that he mentioned and all the places. That one looked like out of place compared to like the other ones, because the other ones were very, like, again, very old, and they looked like very particular, but that one looked insane. It was like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? It's like, it's all like made of like concrete and metal, and like very big. And all the other places that he visited were very, again, they were big, like you said, like the city hall and stuff, but they were all like, you can see that, oh, this was probably built 100 years ago. But also like surprised by how old some of these things are. Like it's so funny when he was like, oh, this castle, like I can't remember, like it was a very old castle, and it was like, well, it got burned, and then they had to rebuild it. And it's like, I'm thinking, oh, well, they have to rebuild it, probably they opened like semi recently, like maybe in the 80s. And he was like, oh, in the like 1912. It's like, it's still like over 100 years old. It's so funny that even like the modern restorations are still over 100 years old. It's such a country that has such a rich history and such old history that you can really do like enjoy it if you're fond of that, you know, you want to look at the history of the country. And I like the fact that they preserve like a lot of this old buildings, and again, the city, like even Amsterdam, he mentioned like the canals itself. Obviously, they've been, obviously, I'm guessing they have to have been modified at some point throughout history, and probably some things have to be rebuilt. But the thing, I think probably the layout itself, I think it's the original one, and it's insane to me. Like he said, it's like, it's the original one. Like it was like, I think 200, like in the year 200 or something. And it's insane how many like old things they've been able to withstand the test of time. And also, of course, like I think the Dutch are incredibly at engineering. That's, I think, something that I think I've learned. It's like, well, these people are incredibly at engineering, and since the dawn of time, basically. Now when I think of Dutch, now I'm gonna think of like incredibly at engineering, because crazy. But yeah, now I want to go there, especially like during tulip season, so I could look at the tulips. But yeah, this was a lovely video. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'll see you next time. Bye.